Should Breeze topic number 1 says, are we killing each other because it is profitable to Europeans, or is it deeper than this? This came with a link that's taken us to X or Twitter. Let me share my screen with you guys. While I do that, I guess let me introduce the brother Oni, who has joined us now. Oni, how are you this week?
I'm cool. Like you said, back on the continent. So just chilling like a villain. I don't know what's going on my computer, but it wasn't reading my microphone for some reason. So I'm on my phone. Hopefully that's not too bad.
Nah, your phone's coming in crystal clear, real clear. So that's appreciated. Let me finish sharing my screen with you guys. This is going to take us to Twitter, to Shango's Wrath. It says, when we stop killing each other is the caption. The video is 1:20. I might play it twice, give some people time to join the panel, etc. So let's take a listen.
That's real. Listen, man, when we start cleaning up our communities, multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies. That's real. Listen, man, when we start cleaning up our communities, multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies is going to lose money, right? And they feed their families off of us killing each other. They send their children to school off of us killing each other. They live in mansions and drive on yachts off of us killing each other. The ambulance, the police officers, the pharmaceutical industry. When you get shot up and you got to take them perks and them pills, that's money. You see what I'm saying? That they losing when we stop killing each other. The ride to the ambulance, you get a hospital bill for that. They start losing money when we stop killing each other. You understand what I'm saying? The obituaries, the funeral homes, they start losing money. The lawyers that we paying millions of dollars to get us off this case, they start losing money when we stop killing each other. So you don't think it's somebody that's sitting in the back responsible for making sure that we keep killing each other so that they can keep eating? When you go to prison, each inmate, they make money, bro, off of the inmates up in there. They make money off of our free labor in prison, building stuff for them. You see what I'm saying? So you don't think it's people out here that's like, no, let me promote this rapper talking about sliding on the ops. Let me promote you trolling these brothers for somebody that you done killed. Because the more you incite them to murder and kill, the more we eat.
That's well stated. Let me play it one more again so that hopefully more people have joined the chat, drop their comments, more people have joined the panel and drop their comments as well. Let's play it again. But this is I think a sound response in his interview. I'll play it again.
That's real. Listen, man, when we start cleaning up our communities, multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies is going to lose money, right? And they feed their families off of us killing each other. They send their children to school off of us killing each other. They live in mansions and drive on yachts off of us killing each other. The ambulance, the police officers, the pharmaceutical industry. When you get shot up and you got to take them perks and them pills, that's money. You see what I'm saying? That they losing when we stop killing each other. The ride to the ambulance, you get a hospital bill for that. They start losing money when we stop killing each other. You understand what I'm saying? The obituaries, the funeral homes, they start losing money. The lawyers that we paying millions of dollars to get us off this case, they start losing money when we stop killing each other. So you don't think it's somebody that's sitting in the back responsible for making sure that we keep killing each other so that they can keep eating? When you go to prison, each inmate, they make money, bro, off of the inmates up in there. They make money off of our free labor in prison, building stuff for them. You see what I'm saying? So you don't think it's people out here that's like, no, let me promote this rapper talking about sliding on the ops. Let me promote you trolling these brothers for somebody that you done killed. Because the more you incite them to murder and kill, the more we eat.
Yeah, well said. In the chat, Trigger Happy has some thoughts. He says, I would like to know what deeper, quote unquote, deeper is. We'll see if it's deeper than that. He says it seems pretty clear that if a group is killing each other and they have corrupt leaders, they are being exploited some way, somehow. When a group kills each other, they are disorganized. I recently was learning about tribalism in Papua New Guinea. they have some of the most corrupt leaders on the planet. He says, lastly, he says, Africa has a lot of tribalism. We are also exploited. Afro-Native World's out there saying Hotep and the BB Toomey. Appreciate you guys for joining us, being here tonight. Right now, it's just Oni and I. So the more participation from the chat, the better for us. So let us know your thoughts. With that said, I guess I should speak on it first. You know, I had a bit of a revelation recently as well. For a long time, I agreed with the notion that, you know, buying up the block in the hood was the thing to do. But then I realized something. If the mentality of the folks in the hood is still what it is, it don't even make sense buying up that block. It makes more sense putting that money or those monies into fixing the mindset of the people, introducing programs to get the children involved, rec centers, African-centered rec centers, and African-centered libraries and reading rooms, and, you know, things of that nature for better socialization skills and stuff like that. Buying the block is just going to be a burden because the mentality is messed up. And you're going to end up selling it probably back to the investors who are not us anyway. We really got to get to the minds of our people. And what this brother is talking about in this video, to me, is just plenty sense, if not common sense. They promote this stuff. The youth in particular internalize it. And it's not just youth. There's some old dudes out here talking about running down on ops. You know, one of the things I noticed with the Umars of the world and Tariqs of the world, they like to talk about the street stuff. I've talked about this before at length. They like to talk about street stuff, how they F with the street so heavy. And I even hear them sometimes using these terms like ops. Like, why are you a grown 50-year-old man talking about some ops? But it's the language of the youth. They're using the language of the youth. And so if they're using the language of the youth, it tells you that this rhetoric and these activities behind this rhetoric is useful, but not useful to us. Or is useful to the grifter who's trying to play off the mind of the ignorant. And this is why we have to have folks like us around here, those of you in the chat, those of you on the panel. This is why we have to have folks out here, and you got to push. You got to throw the rock, as Buana would say. You got to throw the rock. You have to try to change a mind or two in your lifetime, because this is not going to help us. Now, the problem is that, especially in America, their propaganda machine is so powerful, right? You're going to have to really get organized in how you go about with a propaganda of your own. But I think it can be done. It just requires people to get active. The first thing about being organized is just getting friggin' active, man. A lot of us just aren't active. We're just not doing anything. We're standing around. We're having conversations here and there. We're listening to conversations here and there. But we ourselves are not coming together and saying, yo, man, let's me and you put together some reading materials for these kids. Let's do some children's content. Let's do, you know what I mean? Let's do certain things. Let's a group of us go out and create a rec center type situation. You know, we're just not doing it. And so this messaging that's being pushed in the music, in the arts, is what's dominant in our societies, and it's really destroying us from within. I said a lot there, but let me welcome in our brother Black Steel this week. Black Steel, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. Did you see this video that I just played?
I did. I was watching the video, and
Okay.
I did see it. So I'm up to speed. So Yeah, I think he's correct. It is black dysfunction, not just killing each other, but just overall black dysfunction is very profitable for the powers that be, right? They, they make money off of our images, and even when black people aren't dysfunctional, they're going to push the narrative that we are. But then when we are, again, they make money off of it through our images, through the music, because we don't have any control of our images because we are oppressed people. So yeah, I do believe he's definitely correct about that. As far as what can we do, um, you're right about the way the ideology has to be set up. And one thing I remember is Dr. Bobby E. Wright mentioned something about um, street smarts, and he said one of the most prevailing myths is that street sense is positive. What's really being inferred is that whites do not control the streets in the black community or the behavior of blacks on the streets, but this is untrue. Whites have more control, or at least much control, um, over the brothers and sisters in the streets. And he says that street sense generally prepares blacks to deal with one another in very destructive ways, and then whites wipe out the winners. And I think that's kind of what the dude is saying. Like this so-called, want to be in the hood type idea is just another form of mental societal programming. And that goes for black people in the academy, but also in the streets as well. But yeah, I really didn't disagree with anything what he was saying because it is very beneficial. And even with the music. So, for example, after a certain amount of money, it's not black people consuming it. So most hip hop, most rap music is not bought by black people. It's bought by white people. And I think the music, the images in the music and the way the lyrics and whatnot corresponds with the fact that we're not the majority of the people who buy it. White people are. And what do they want to hear when they see black people doing music? And I think the artists cater their music taste to what the dominant society thinks black people should behave. So I'll leave it there, Coco. I'll let Oni speak. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. And again, thanks for coming through as well. Oni, are we killing each other because it's profitable to Europeans, or is it deeper than that? Can it be deeper than that? Go ahead, Oni.
You know what? Damn, I just remember that. It's 3 a.m. I'm actually I remember I had something deep to say about this. But well, I don't know. But are we killing each other because it is profitable? I mean, I think, well, that's what I'm saying. I think part of this is we shouldn't, like, I think we tend to look at it like we're the damn main characters, you know? I think to some degree these are social services that we're using unnecessarily. And I think sometimes we're pointing the finger outside of us. Not saying that, nobody is doing anything, but I think sometimes we are pointing the finger outside of us a little too much, you know? And I don't know if this would discourage somebody from, injuring somebody else because they figure, oh well, the ambulance, I don't want the ambulance company to profit from me. But I don't necessarily see damn. I don't necessarily see, I mean, I don't actually get why people frame it in this way, you know? Um as in I think that I think it is deeper. I think well, the way how I would look at it is that I think people, like generally speaking, people with a lack of means or the lack of economics, or even I'll put it this way. In fact, I think it was when I was younger, I was pretty interested in this quote from Plato, I guess, where he was saying that the people who did crime were either the very rich or the very poor. You know, like if you were on one of those economic extremes, you were more probable to do some sort of crime. And I think, Black people generally, well, not really, but a lot of Black people who are at least participating in crime, um, like they might find themselves on the lower end of the economic spectrum, just the same as a lot of the worst white people on the planet are those who find themselves on the higher, you know, portion of the economic spectrum. But I don't think that I would necessarily, I guess, racialize this, in so much as, like I said, this is like something you could read in Plato, you know? Um, Really, I think Black people, we have to get together and try to form an economy. And instead of, let's say, pointing the finger at, or try to develop our own independent economies, right? Or try to develop our economies that need development. Like I said, like here I am on the continent of Africa. That's the kind of that's the position that I want to be in. And I think if I contribute to this economy, you know, less would there'll be less negative things. But as far as, well, I think it's because this white man wants, like, yeah, okay, but I see crime here in Tanzania. You know what I mean? Like where the white people could hardly communicate with Black people here. I even see negative music in Tanzania. I see women. We've all seen videos, right? We've all seen it. Women just dancing in the freaking streets. I didn't know that was in Tanzania, but that. I mean, I haven't seen that in person, but it is a thing. And this isn't a country that has a huge white preference or a continuous white preference, your presence. Like you could say, well, in South Africa, it's a continuous white presence. You could say, obviously, in America, it's a continuous white presence. But in Nigeria, you could go either way. But for Tanzania, it's like white people hardly speak Swahili, like hardly. Um, and yet the Swahili music is some raunchy stuff. So the point I'm making is that, yeah, I think that sometimes we have to like step back and say to ourselves, well, what would like honestly, what would really improve us as a people is if we had the economic, wherewithal to actually provide for our people, to provide alternatives. Because um, you know, here in Tanzania, there's like some theft of some, minor thing. I don't want to say to get too much detail, but people are stealing this minor thing that you probably sell for uh, $8 or something, right? Or $6. And the only reason why somebody would steal something that's worth $6 is if they needed $6. And that's all I'm saying.
I appreciate that, Oni, but I'll ask you to, if you can, walk me through where the economy or the building of an economy prevents the quote unquote raunchy lyrics. What I'm trying to say is, why is the default raunchy music? Why is the default, because you're poor or broke, which I don't subscribe to, by the way. Why is it raunchy? Why is it violent? Right? I hear what you said about Plato, but again, why is it in the music just by default? I'm not getting that part. Can you explain that to me?
Oh wait, why, well, that's the thing too. It's like, um, well, again, so one thing I want to remind people is that it is 3 a.m. So I don't know. But what I want to say is, here's the thing about raunchy music. Well, it depends on what you mean by raunchy music and killing music. But, you know, see, I tend to look at, I mean, I shouldn't say this to you because, whatever. But I tend to look at things like from a biology perspective, right? You're like, right? Whatever. But I tend to look at this from a biology perspective. And what I'm saying is that, like, biologically, I feel like, or evolutionarily, I feel like humans have always had, or have long had raunchy and violent music. You know what I mean? Like if you go back in, anthropology or what have you, if they were not, dancing naked and, just celebrating life and, sex and family, they were probably, dancing with warrior gear and so on and so forth. So I don't know, like it's possible that we just don't like we are opposed to raunchy and violent music just because we're Christianized. You know what I mean? Just because we're westernized. And so for that reason, I don't even know if it's actually a bad thing to like another way I'm looking at it too is, recently I think I just finished reading propaganda, and what was interesting was in the last few paragraphs, maybe like the second to last or third to last paragraph, he tells us that, no matter how informed the people will be, they can't resist propaganda for four things, right? And that was food, amusements, beauty, and leadership, right? And it's that amusement part, like unfortunately, like for what it's worth, sex and violence are probably, I don't want to say instinctively, but probably, well, actually, yeah, sex obviously instinctively interesting, instinctively amusing, and so you'll never really get rid of that. But as far as why poor people are engaging it for this, this kind of economy, it's because it pays well. Obviously, like I mean, not, I shouldn't say opposite, but you know what I mean. Like it pays well, or it's a means, like yeah, it's just a means to an end if the economy is not providing better opportunities, And I think one of the like another interesting book that I kind of enjoyed was this Wealth of Nations, where the most interesting, like he made this really interesting observation because this is a writer in the middle of Europe, who's talking about, you know, economics before America was even a country, right? And what he's saying is that nobody wants to be an opera singer because it would be shameful to be an opera singer. But the reason why some people are opera singers is because it pays a lot of money, right? And obviously it's like who cares? It's whatever year he wrote that, 17 whatever, right? But then you extrapolate it to modern day, right? And you say, well, yeah, who wants to be a freaking rapper, right? Kind of. But the reason why you'd be a rapper is because it pays a lot of money. Now, is it shameful to sing for a living? I wouldn't necessarily put shameful, but maybe, right? And most people just sing, right? They don't necessarily do it for a living. But he points out, yeah, people will do that. And what it comes down to, I would point out, is that yeah, there's a lot of things that people do for money, and they do it for money because their options for money are otherwise limited, and their options for money are not even being provided by us. So um, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about the Manny Marable Malcolm X controversy, and I think my friend was saying, yeah, people know that Malcolm Little, Malcolm Red, I think I can't remember. No, Detroit Red, right? Might have definitely engaged in sex work. They say, right? And if nothing else, he writes in his autobiography how he was hanging out with sex workers, on a regular, right? But that's the thing. It's like, why is this man engaging in sex work? You know, it's because what else? Oh, why is this man engaging in crime? Right? It's because what else is he going to do to make his daily bread? Right? If he loses he says in his autobiography that black people only had so many positions, so many jobs that they could do, either number running or working at the on the porters on the trains or whatever, right? And if you can't get that job as a porter, and I know he did at one point, and then he lost that job. But if you can't keep that job as a porter, what are you going to do to make your daily bread? And so it's crime, it's music, it's whatever these white people want you to do, but it's not what we want us to do. So if we had the opportunity to, like if we were giving Black people better opportunities, they would take better opportunities. And if we gave them correct ways to keep them, assuming there's no mental illness, they'll try hard to keep those jobs. That's what I would say.
I appreciate that, Oni. Shout out to those people who joined us. Cheryl, haven't seen you in a long time. Afro Native World is out there. Trigger Happy 262 Plus. Daily Affirmations by Pauline is out there. And the brother Kofi is not only out there in the chat, but he's now up here on the panel. Kofi, how are you this week?
Doing good, doing good. I'm blessed. How are you doing?
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming through. Did you see the video here?
Yeah, I played it back and I saw it, and it's basically a conversation that's been happening since the dawn of hip hop, how it was being demonized, and I grew up in the '80s when it was pretty much from old school to what it is right now. It was demonized, because anything that's Black is demonized, right? And then you had the message came out, and they got into the lyrics of what it was about, and it was very relative. And then white people started taking on rap because wow, it's now mainstream. Seen this movie before. Black Americans make all the genres of American music, but the problem that we have, and I've been saying this forever, is our self-image in media. We are not proper stewards of our image in media, because we know if we start talking about the little hat people, we're going to be in trouble. We start talking about gay people, we're going to be in trouble, right? We don't have that, how should I put it without offending ourselves? We don't care that much image, because we always will say, and I always hear this, oh, it's just entertainment. Oh, it's just TV. Oh, it's never just entertainment. It's never just TV, right? It's never that. So we have a very poor self-image issue. I mean, look what happened to I remember Oprah Winfrey, right? Oprah Winfrey, when she first started her talk show, she's like, well, I'm going to expose the KKK, and she had the KKK there, and you had, of course, everyone's up in a roar like, yeah, you guys are jerks, you guys are this, you guys are that. And as all this is happening, they had while one of the KKK guys was talking, they had one white guy that was sitting there nodding his head, agreeing with them. So Oprah was like, whoa, 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 wait. If this is being broadcast nationwide, okay, fine. If I got 100 audience members, I have like 99 and 98 of them saying the KKK is bad. So multiply that by 2. So you're really giving them free publicity, right? So she's like, no, I would never have these type of people on there again. Dave Chappelle, I'm not gonna, like, I mean, his I forgot the guy that he came with, the white guy, is racist or whatever, but it was his friend, right? But Dave Chappelle, after Dave Chappelle, the show was over. He was doing the skit with the what's it, the racist pixies, or the racist, whatever, right? And they was like, well, Dave, you can't say anything about being, you can't say the F word. He's like, why can't I say the F word? This is the one, the person that on the network on Comedy Central, the censor, right? Well, you can't say the F word, which is fag or whatever. I was like, why not? Okay. Oh, because you're not gay, Dave. If you were gay, we kind of like, we could kind of like let that go, right? But everything else is wonderful, Dave. Everything else is wonderful. What about the N word? I use the N word. Oh, no. That's fine. That's fine, David. That's totally fine. And he was like, wait. So I can't use the F word because I'm not gay, but I can use the N word because I'm a nigga. And she started feeling all uncomfortable, right? So these are examples that we have, that we're not good stewards of of the art that we create. I mean, it all starts with it starts with us. It starts with us. It ends with us. So, and another thing that we're talking about as far as boycotting. We're not in this. I was on a panel with Brother Bakari the other day, and we're just talking about, hey, look, we're not the same generation as our forebears were in the 60s and the 50s. right? And I was on me and Bakar was on another channel, and the lady there kept saying, you're blaming us, That's not what you mean. I'm not blaming you guys. I'm not blaming us. I'm saying we are not the same people, right? We can't get black people to boycott shit nowadays. You can't. And that's just it is. And so about talking about as far as like sexualization. Yes, sexualization, sex is a part of the human species, is a part of who we are, right? In every society. No problem. The problem is in this society, in America, black women are seen over sexualized, right? Anybody remember Sarah Bartman, right? She was black women are always sexualized. Black men are always over sexualized, right? So we have not to say that we can't show our, us being sexual people, that have a sexual nature, but we have to understand once we're doing that in America, we can only go so hard. We can't go like there's no guardrails. We have to do it in a tasteful manner. You can do it in a raunchy manner, that's fine. But in my opinion, from what I've seen, if you just go nuts with the sexualization and all this other stuff, you're following certain tropes, right? So I think at the end of the day, we have to be responsible for ourselves and for the content that's put out there. But again, until black people stop seeing it as just entertainment, it's always going to be like this. We're going to have this conversation all the time. And now I yield the mic.
I appreciate that, Kofi, and thanks for coming through. As always, Buana, how are you this week?
Koku, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, how are you, brother? I hope everyone is well. I'm sorry I'm late. I had a few runs to make, but I didn't see this video, Koku. So
Okay.
maybe y'all might probably want to go on. Yeah.
No. The video is short. It's only 1 minute and 20 seconds. I'll play it again. Okay. I think someone in the chat didn't see it as well. I'll play it again, and then we'll get your thoughts. All right.
Oh, that's real. Listen, man, when we start cleaning up our communities, multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies is going to lose money, right? And they feed their families off of us killing each other. They send their children to school off of us killing each other. They live in mansions and drive on yachts off of us killing each other. The ambulance, the police officers, the pharmaceutical industry. When you get shot up and you got to take them perks and them pills, that's money. You see what I'm saying? That they losing when we stop killing each other. The ride to the ambulance, you get a hospital bill for that. They start losing money when we stop killing each other. You understand what I'm saying? The obituaries, the funeral homes, they start losing money. The lawyers that we paying millions of dollars to get us off this case, they start losing money when we stop killing each other. So you don't think it's somebody that's sitting in the back responsible for making sure that we keep killing each other so that they can keep eating? When you go to prison, each inmate, they make money, bro, off of the inmates up in there. They make money off of our free labor in prison, building stuff for them. You see what I'm saying? So you don't think it's people out here that's like, no, let me promote this rapper talking about sliding on the ops. Let me promote you trolling these brothers for somebody that you done killed. Because the more you incite them to murder and kill, the more we eat.
That's real talk. If you look at Chicago, before I get to Buana, if you look at Chicago, that's what's going on in Chicago mostly, It's mostly dudes taking out some dude, then they go write a song about it, and then there's retaliation. It's going on back and forth. I wish D Webb was here to kind of talk about that. But with that said, why are we killing each other because it is profitable to Europeans, or is it somehow deeper than that?
No, we are. I think that some black people are murdering one another. Because I ain't killed nobody. So some black people are murdering one another because of many different kinds of reasons. I think that some people, when they look in the mirror, they don't like what they see. And that is reflected on the people who look just like them, sometimes within their communities. They don't like what they see. And I think that there's a whole lot of self-hatred and jealousies and anger that exists within our community. I am very leery and careful when people say that people create traps for us that we so willfully fall into, as if we exercise no agency or thought processes for the things that we actively decide to do on a daily basis. Yes, Smith and Wesson has made guns. Yes, guns do harm and kill each other. But you make the choice to buy the gun on the street, and you make the choice to pull that trigger, exercise that 300 pounds on that weapon in front of someone who looks like you. You are exercising agency. You are culpable. You could decide to buy that gun or not to, Yes, people are setting up. Yes, people profit off of the miseries and the ugliness within poor, disenfranchised, ignorant communities. Of course, Marcus Garvey always said that intelligence rule the world and ignorance carries the burden. Now, whether that intelligence is a wicked one who sit back and plot and scheme, or whether that intelligence is a smart one or a good one, who use their intelligence as a force for good. Intelligence rule the world, and ignorance is carried the burden of it. Now, if you remain to be within certain communities ignorant of the powers that be, of the world that exists around you, of to do certain things, you are going to have these kinds of results. To sit in prison for 30 and 40 and 50 years, it's not a badge of honor. It's not to be respected because people are they taking their life force away, and they profit on your life force because every time your mama go to the courthouse to see you, she have to give you money for your commissary. Just as the man was saying, you have to pay for a myriad of different things when the prison industrial complex houses you. People make money off of the miseries of the ignorant. So my thing is, don't put yourself in that position. Exercise greater and better agency. And he said, Moana, that's an easy thing to say for you to say. That's an easy thing for you to say. I'm like, man, if other people have the agency to do it, so do you. So do you. So do you. This thing now where there's this big bad European person who creating these little mouse traps, and you eventually have to fall into them no matter what. To me, that is becoming a argument that I really can't. I don't know. I haven't a good thing of it anymore, because I think that it's possible for you to escape these little traps. These white these white people, these people who plot and plan for you to exist in a miserable state forever. I think it's possible for you to escape these things. Use your brain. Your brain is just not for you to soak it in alcohol and marijuana. It's actually for you to use it to be useful for you. If you was to use it and exercise it for that purpose, your brain could be your greatest liberator, but it could be your greatest imprisoner if you use it incorrectly. If you use it incorrectly, it could house you in some white man jail for the rest of your life. But if you use it correctly, it could free you. It could free you. You know what I mean? Make you boundless. So I think that the man have agency, and I think that we should be willful in using our own agency as well. This whole big bad white supremacist mind who's gonna do wicked thing. Come on, bro. Use your own brilliant divine mind as well. Use your divine mind as well. So that argument for me is just wearing thin. Maybe because I get older and crotchety, who knows, man. But that's what I think about that. Coco, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, Bonnie, as was said, you cook it. It's a good reminder too about, we need to be consistent in our thinking and our analysis as well. I think it was the first time Kofi came on the panel, actually. We had a conversation about the luxury of marijuana and stuff like that. And I remember Oni was saying, and I agreed with it too, that, people will say, well, folks will do it anyway. No, these other folks ain't doing it like that. And I think what Buana's hitting on is that same kind of sentiment that, you know what, these other folks ain't doing it to that clip, to that extent, whereas it's almost like a majority action in our community. This brother in the video that we watched, I mean, he's breaking down some real stuff. Like if Black folks got it together. And as Juana just said, if we start to use our brains to find another way, If you got to go friggin' plant corn or something like that, find another way. If you got to go be a fisherman, go be a fisherman. Go be a carpenter or something. Go find another way, right? A lot of the people who benefit off of these dysfunction in our community their source will dry up, or they'll have to move on to another group. Let them move on to the Hispanics or some shit like that. But we have to start using our head and have to start, we have to start figuring some things out. And that's why we gotta, number one, we gotta get our minds right through how we educate each other. And number two, we gotta get those educated minds organized together. Is there any last thoughts by anyone on the panel? All right. Let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. That was a real good discussion, guys. And the chat was good with that too. Thanks to everyone who participated. Black Seal will be back in a few. You have to step off for a minute. In the meantime,